be going live on here. I've got no idea. Apparently, we're live on YouTube as well. So, Facebook Live, you can be there. And there we go. So, who's in the room? Who have we got? Who are you? Two. Who are you? Pete. Neil. Dan. Vicky. John. Brian. And then you've got Liz, and you've got Steve. Okay. So this is our behind-the-scenes start. We're not starting yet. This is just trying to make it up as we go along, just to get you introduced to everyone. So, yeah, welcome. We also have speaking with us today, Barry. Barry as you can see, we're all practicing social distancing. Barry took it a little far when he turned up to church this morning. Barry, can you just, yeah, what can I say? It's good to know that he's ready for all occasions.
Best play it safe.
Best play it safe. Thanks, Barry. You do as we can't hear you with that. So,
what?
There you go. I didn't think so.
No.
He's not in shots. There we go. Move over.
Yeah, you're behind.
There we go. Keep moving over.
Oh,
there he is. There he is. I know it's because of camera slips. There we go. We're just learning as we go in. So there we go. Walking past. Thank you. So it's 5 to 11. Yes, we're not going to do a formal introduction yet. You're just getting a behind the scenes look, and we're trying to make sure this works. Liz, do we have anybody on Facebook that's listening?
We've currently got 21 people watching.
21 people. Gospel's coming home, and I've got no idea if. Oh, and we've got 7 people live on
22.
YouTube. 20. This is brilliant. So, as you can see, this is not the real start. We will be starting at 11 o'clock on the dot. We just wanted to do something fun, just to show you that we are up and running, that we are working. Tim, you shared something really encouraging with me. Do you want to just?
I did.
So, literally this week, we're trying to share encouraging stories. So, Tim, what's gone on this week? What's been encouraging?
Well, I mean, obviously everybody's just been wondering where they can get what from and how everything's going to be. And we decided we better start baking because everybody's become a baker.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
So you're doing Celebrity Bake Off?
But we got no yeast.
Oh.
So Pam put a shout out on Facebook and a friend came round, said she'd bring some yeast, which was brilliant, and some flour, which is always helpful.
Yeah.
And when she came and knocked on the door, she just walked in saying, it dawned on me that because the schools were all closed, you won't have anywhere to do your workshops and stuff. So that means we've got not much income at the moment. Don't worry about it. There's been some very helpful people stepping forward.
Yeah.
But she came in with bags full of stuff. And that was kind of cool. She said, we just thought we'd bring you some stuff. And there was all kinds of things. There's toilet rolls. Yeah. Gold dust. But all sorts of other things as well, including, first out the bag, a bottle of Carver. Wow. Start with the essentials.
Oh my goodness, wow. So great stories of people sharing. Thank you, Tim. There are great stories going on out there, and we're going to be trying to tell some of these stories. But all we can do is say, well, this is our practice. We're not going live yet. So what do you want me to do? As you can see, for those of you that have tuned in to both YouTube and those of you that have tuned on Facebook Live, you have a comment section there. We have Liz, who's going to be managing our comment section, and I will be later. If you ever tune in these first 10 minutes before we actually start, and you want us to do something, please send in your requests. If you want me to do a dance, I'll do it. If you want me to juggle, see, we can do all of this, and it only works, though, if you interact with us. Also, to let you know, every week that we do this, we're going to be adding something different in the room. So your job at home is to figure out what is going to be new added in the room. So take this chance to look at this room, because there will be one thing new every week. So it's trying to figure out what is going to be the new thing that we add into the room every week. And you'll get the first 10 minutes to do that. And you can use the comment section to do it. Also, throughout the morning, any prayer requests, you can put those in the comment section as well, and Liz will respond, and you might even get me responding too. I can see we're up to 15 on YouTube. It's like, well, revival's breaking out.
26
and 26 on Facebook. It's incredible. So we are going to be going live in approximately 3 minutes. We're going to go live. So the team are just going to jam a little bit for 3 minutes for your pleasure. And then we're going to see what jamming, if they're able to jam for 3 minutes. So when you're ready, team.
And we've had a request for you to dance and juggle at the same time.
Dancing and juggling next week. And juggling in the balls. There we go. Right, Tim. team, please jam. We've got 2 minutes.
Saving.
Oh, see, wasn't that a lovely jam? And somebody even on the YouTube stream guessed what that was. Yes, that was great. Are you Lord? That's going to be part of our worship time this morning. So it's now 11 o'clock. So I want to say a massive good morning and a massive welcome to everybody out there. Welcome to Riverside Elim. We are going to be attempting to live stream our service this morning. So it's going to be a case of there will be a couple of worship songs by our wonderful band. Then there'll be a message from Barry, who's going to come and share with us. And then we're going to close with a bit of worship as well. Just some notices for you at home, just to let you know. This is the first time we're doing this. So we should be okay. I know some churches that have said during worship their feed cuts out due to copyright issues. So right now, I'm talking to YouTube, the queens and kings at YouTube, and the lords and ladies at Facebook. We have a streaming license. Do not cut us off. You are out there listening to this right now. You can check our CCRI license. We have one for streaming. So do not banish us, okay? If that feed does close during worship, we will try and get ourselves back up. But also know that at 11:30, Barry will be coming to share a word anyway. And we will definitely be up live and streaming for that. So there may be some technical issues this week. For those of you that don't know what today is, it's the 22nd of May, which is Mother's Day. And I want March. It's March. It's not even May, it's March. What would I do without this place? It's March. It's Mother's Day. And we want to say to all of you mothers out there, all of you women out there, a massive thank you. Thank you for being spiritual mothers, women, to all people that you are connected to. And if you are at home and you do have any, if you do have a chance to ring somebody, please today ring your mum, have a conversation with her. Do it safely, do it wisely. But let's show the mothers in our lives that we are thankful for them. And for any of you that are at home and you may have lost your mother, we want to pray for you and stand for you and know that you are loved and you are cared for. But we want to celebrate not only the physical mothers in our lives, but the spiritual mothers as well. What else is today? Today is going to be a national day of prayer. The Evangelical Alliance is calling today to be a national day of prayer. And what we're going to be doing is at 7 o'clock, the Evangelical Alliance are encouraging all of us to light a candle and put it in our windows. Why? To show the communities that we are praying for them, that Jesus is the light of the world. We are praying for our towns and our communities during the coronavirus outbreak. We are trusting our families and our communities into God's hands. We're praying for key workers, NHS workers, teachers. We're praying for all people who are still trying to function and go about their lives, asking God, step in and make a way, because there is always hope, and our hope is Jesus Christ. Our hope is in Him. So please join us at 7 o'clock today as we unite in prayer. What else? This is a live stream that we're going to be trying to do every week as a church. We're also going to be sending out to anybody that we have an email address for some weekly Bible teaching and videos to your email address. So if we have that, look out for it in your inbox on Monday. We want to keep connecting to you. We're also going to be exploring different ways of connecting through Zoom and chat rooms, and we want to stay connected. We live in a world which says you need to self-isolate, but that doesn't mean we don't have to stay connected. And it doesn't mean that we're alone either, because we always have God, the Holy Spirit, the living presence of God alive within us. But let's stay connected together. Let's stay one body, one people together. Let's stay worshiping together. Let's hold on to Him throughout all things. For some of you who are at home, you might be thinking, Steve, I'm going to miss out on the joy of giving. You can still give. As a church, we've got online giving through our website, but also we want to make sure you know we are giving to our community. On Friday, we put a call out for people to be giving to the Facebook, and the response, food bank, thanks Liz, and the response was phenomenal. You gave of your food so families could be fed. And we want to encourage that spirit of generosity that keeps going. So please look out for how we're giving and who we're giving to through our church website. And finally, before we go into some worship, there's some scripture I want to share with you. But I've left my Bible by the camera, but Liz is going to pass it to me. There we go. Seamless. Did you see that? Isaiah 40. Do you not know? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. He gives strength to the weary. He increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. We have a God who is our strength. We might feel a little faint-hearted, a little weak, a little unsure, but He is our rock. He is our strength. He is the everlasting God who created the end of the earth. And we can soar on His wings. He can lift us up from where we are. So we're going to go into a time of worship now. Let's lift ourselves up wherever you are, trusting in God who is greater. And there's going to be a couple of worship songs now as we just trust in the God who is bigger than all things together. Let's worship together, shall we? You are you give light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. Give life. You give life. You are love. You give light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. Your breath, it's your breath in our lives. So we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. Great, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Oh, it's your breath. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. Pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. It's your breath. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise. Pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you only. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are in our lives. So we pour out our praise, pour out our praise, it's your in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you, Lord. It's your in our lungs. So we pour out our praise, pour out our praise, it's your in our lungs. So we pour out our praise to you, holy. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. We thank God. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Strong and mighty. Great are you, mighty in battle. Great are you, Lord. This is how I fight my battle. 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 This is how I fight. This is how I fight my battle. 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 It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by It may look like I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. Ooh, this is how I fight my battles. And this is how I fight my battles. See, I'm surrounded. You may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. You may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. You may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight my battle. You may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. You may look like I'm surrounded by you, Jesus. You may look like I'm surrounded by you. 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 I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight my battle. Praising your name. And this is how I fight my battle. And this is how I fight my battle. Be high and lifted up. Be high and lifted up. Be high and lifted up. Jesus, it's you we glorify. It's you we're lifted high. Your name be glorified. Be high and lifted up. Be high and lifted up. Be high and lifted up. Jesus, it's you we glorify. It's you we're lifted high. Your name be glorified. Be high and lifted up. Be high and lifted up. Be high and lifted up. Jesus, it's you we glorify. It's you we lifted high. Your name be glorified. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. You are worthy of our praise. Yes, Lord, we declare that this morning. Whether we're on a mountaintop or in a valley, whether we're surrounded by light or darkness, you are worthy of our praise, Lord. And we declare, hallelujah, worthy and holy is the name of Jesus. And we will sing it through the storm. We will sing it in the waves. We will sing it in the valley place. We declare it over our lives, over our nation right now. That Jesus is Lord. Jesus is King. Jesus is sovereign. He's above it all. Come on, let's sing hallelujah. God, we want to thank you that you are worthy of our praise. We want to thank you that you are high and lifted up no matter what is going on in our day. You are Lord of all. That we can find refuge in you. We can find strength in you. And I want to encourage any of you watching right now, if you need to know the love, the peace, the strength, the presence of God, just stop and ask him. Say, God, I need you. God, I love you. God, I need you to be my strength. I need you to be my refuge right now. I need you to be my hope. We're going to sing a song which starts, Hide Me Now. We can be hidden and protected and surrounded by God, no matter how crazy we feel the world is. I keep hearing this phrase that self-isolating doesn't mean you don't have to, you're not connected. We can be connected not only to each other now, but to God. So as we sing this one more song, open yourself up to him and say, God, hide me now, be my refuge. Show me I'm not alone. And trust him to meet you where we are as we sing this together now. Hide me now under your wings. Cover me within your mighty hand. When the oceans rise and thunders roar, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the flood. I will be still, know you are God. Find rest, my soul, in Christ alone. Oh, yes, in quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and thunders roll, I will soar with you above rise, when the oceans rise and love is born, I will surely be love is born. That you are your love and love. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God. Let's just take a moment. We've just sang and heard the words, I will be still and know you are God. Now, this might seem a little strange where you are, but how about we have a moment of stillness together? Doesn't matter where we're watching this from, we can all stop together and have a moment of stillness with Him. So just where we are, let me encourage you. Stop. Let's take a moment. God, I thank you that in the quietness we can trust you. I thank you that whilst our minds may seem like a whirlwind at times, you are the peace in our storm, and you can quieten the most troubled of hearts and minds. And for anyone out there right now, God, who is struggling, whose heart and mind may be racing, we ask in this moment, you give them peace, you give them rest, letting them know in the quietness and the stillness that you can bring is your love and your care. God, we thank you for the fact that you can do this in our lives, that you are not far, you are near. And may we know that not just now in this moment, but may we know it in all the moments that follow this one as well. In your name we pray it. Amen. So we're going to have to turn the cameras now, which is going to be an interesting exercise. So we're just going to go this way slightly. So there we go. There's one camera turned. Liz is doing a great job there. And then Liz is going to turn the YouTube camera and just turn that one as well. What I love is the fact that God is at work. Barry and I have been talking about the teaching series we're going to start today. We've been talking about it for a couple of months, haven't we, really?
Yeah.
And we really believe God put this phrase on our hearts of hope prepared. That actually our hope in God isn't something that's far away or like a wish that's distant, but He has prepared all the hope we'll ever need. And it was something we couldn't get away from. And then suddenly, with the events of the last 2 weeks, the idea that our hope is prepared has really blown us away completely. And loads of people say, so are you going to change all your messages and change what you felt God was saying in light of what's happening in the world? And the truth is, no, we're not. Because we believe God's put a message on our heart that was right for this time. So I'm going to hand you over to Barry, who is our youth leader here at Riverside. We're really lucky to have him here. Be kind to him. It'd be really lovely if, as he's preaching, you could send some encouraging messages to Barry, because he's really nervous. I know he doesn't look it, but he really is. So we're going to hand him a microphone now. Thank you, John. There you go. You see how that microphone came out of nowhere? Because this is going to go on our website, so we need the sound as well on that. But really hope you enjoy just the message that Barry's got to bring about hope prepared.
This isn't going on that, is it? I'm just speaking.
Yeah, just.
But I'll hold this up, even though it makes no difference for the recording. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning, Barry.
Morning,
Barry.
morning,
Morning,
who are
Barry.
over there. Morning, rest of the world over here. I am very, very excited. I have seen people like tuning in who are from Bewdley, from Wyre Forest. I have seen people who are from my home hamlet in Teesside of Winnie Hill. I've seen people who I used to be a chaplain for in a rugby club. I've seen people who I used to go to university with, family and friends afar, who are maybe giving church a try this morning. So welcome. I am great to see you. Today we are looking at hope. Hope prepared. I like to, for those who see me speaking regularly or in church before, I like to not necessarily do it all myself. So I'm going to give you something straight away. Just take a moment for yourself right now in this room. If you are sat on your own, if you're sat as a group, and just ask yourself the question: what is it that you hope for? What is it that you hope for? Have a think, close your eyes if you need to, and take a moment to answer that for yourself. I know I'm hoping to get through this talk well, without messing up too much. But right now, the immediate seems to dominate everything. We are at the beck and call of a virus that is spreading that 4 weeks ago we'd never even heard of, and suddenly everything is impacted by it. So we hope for safety. We're hoping for our loved ones to be healthy. We hope for sanity in the community around us, because if we're honest, we're hoping there's enough toilet roll at the local shop when we walk down there. But let's not allow that immediate demand to take our eyes off a bigger picture. We are hoping for a future. We hope for world peace. We hope for a community where love will overrule our differences, our prejudices, our fears, even our doubts. And we hope that there is a purpose to our lives. Perhaps even a plan. So often, what we hope for, though, remains unseen. Whether it's to hope for enough food in the shops, or to hope that there's a God and He has a plan for my life, the fact that I am having to hope for it rather than to know it as a fact lies in the reality that I can't see it. I don't know before I set off to the shops that there's enough food in the shops. I don't know. I can't touch God. I can't necessarily feel God. And therefore, I can have a doubt of whether or not God is real. In the book of Hebrews, the writer is challenging and encouraging Christians who have started to doubt. They're very much in their early stages of being a church, and they're starting to doubt some of the things that they have just trusted in so far. And he begins chapter 11 with a challenge to keep the faith. It says these words: to have faith is to be sure of the things we hope for, to be certain of the things we cannot see. Am I sure that there'll be enough food at the shops when I go down? If you'd asked me that 2 or 3 weeks ago, then absolutely. In the comfort of our Western world, we have developed a society where we have an abundance of supplies. We know that we go to the shops, it will have most things in, or it will at least find an alternative. And most people's budgets can be met in this Western society. But the last few weeks have maybe brought a bit of doubt into that surety. Supply chains are struggling. Masses are panicking in their buying patterns. And some looking to maybe even capitalize on the situation and buy stuff up for themselves or for their own customers to be able to pass it on. But what does it look like to still be sure in my hope in God in the midst of that? To still be sure of something that I cannot see. To believe that in the midst of this chaos, there is one who still has a plan for my life and for your life. We have built up ourselves with such self-efficiency so that we just don't even need God any longer. We live in a world where we have built how we can supply for ourselves. Yes, we rely on those around us, but we don't need God, surely. Perhaps there was a time when a belief in a creator could be reassuring and comforting for those who needed that sort of thing. But surely we have no longer have such a need for these fanciful childhood stories. I have friends and family today who still look surprised when I tell them that I am still a Christian, that my job is in ministry, and that they ask, I thought you might have passed out of that phase by now, that following Jesus that you used to talk about. But it is now more than ever that I find comfort and strength in my hope. I remain sure in a God who I cannot see. Or can I? For me, it remains easy to see God in the world around us. We could focus on the minority of people who maybe stockpile food and toilet roll out of their own insecurity and fears, but I would rather be encouraged by the mass movement of social care that I see both online and locally. Neighbours checking in on each other that maybe they haven't got round to doing for months or even years. Friends going shopping for each other. NHS staff coming out of retirement to keep the system running. Supermarket staff risking their own health to try and keep supplies available. Teachers, whether going into school or at home, offering online support to this new wave of enforced homeschooling that we're all maybe a little bit nervous about from 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And people donating food out of their own limited supplies to food banks because they know there are still others who have it worse than them. And whilst it is definitely scary to see so much of our world around us grind to a halt, and we know and we fear a little that there may be more of this to come, just maybe this is the year of Jubilee that actually we've been so desperately in need of. Many of you will know the stories, even if you are not a regular churchgoer or a Christian, from the stories of Moses, the prince of Egypt, leading his people through the desert, the parting of the Red Sea, the plagues that came before that, the 10 commandments that came after it, the 40 years of wandering through the desert. But then what? God had a whole new nation of people who needed instructions on how to live. So, having read through the exciting stories of Genesis and then Exodus and following this nation, the Bible moves into the book of Leviticus, possibly not the most read book in the Bible. Chapters and chapters of rules on how to live. When God, so let me just cut to a bit that I want to share rather than ask you to go and read the whole book of Leviticus. When God gives instructions to the Israelite nation on how to live, he said that they should leave the land to rest on every 7th year. Something many farmers still actually put into practice today. They leave their fields to go fallow and to recover because they need it. But this was advice given to a people for themselves. And then, after 7 cycles of 7, that 7th year, and 7 times of doing that in practice, on the 50th year, the people were told to have a year of Jubilee, where everything would be restored. People would not work, but live off what they had in reserve. Debts would be cancelled, past wrongs forgiven, slaves set free, belongings returned to those who used to own them. A new beginning, a restoration after perhaps many years of being focused on let's just get as much as we can for ourselves. Unfortunately, the Israelites that God gave that instruction to never made it to their first set of year of Jubilee, and it was never put into practice. And here we are thousands of years later, exploring all these concepts of how do we take a break, how do we look after our mental health, how do we learn to stop, but in a world that tells us to keep going, to keep going, to keep going, And just maybe something can come out of this enforced stopping that we're facing. In no way, please do not hear me say that this epidemic has been sent by God. That is not something I think. But in the midst of this challenge, perhaps something good for all of us can come out of it. We're already seeing pollution levels dropping in major cities, fish returning to the canals of Venice, birds singing in urban centres where they had been forgotten or at least perhaps not heard for many years because of our hectic, busy lives. An enforced time to stop the busyness of your life and to refocus on what matters, on what we believe in, on what we hope for. Yes, it is scary to break from the norm, to be in a time of mass uncertainty, to feel we are not in control of our own destiny. That is scary. But it's exciting as well. My dad used to often sing to me a lot of country and western stuff, but also a lot of gospel stuff. And an old Elvis gospel line was simply, and I am not going to try and sing it in the style of Elvis. But he used to sing, I know not what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. And in that thought, right there, my hope is prepared. Perhaps more than ever, we've become rapidly aware of how quickly something can spread. We use the word gone viral so flippantly about a video clip or the latest fad. Not so long ago, some of you may remember loom bands all over our house, the crazy frog singing in the non-stop, Pokemon Go. I still have friends who are obsessed with it. Ice bucket challenges, Lego cards, the mannequin challenge, the Harlem Shake, to name just a few. You may have already forgotten them. Because these things come, they take over the world, and then we move on. COVID-19 has shaken our world, whether it's the virus itself, or more so the fear of it, and our efforts to get ahead of it with isolation and distancing that has led to such a rapid change in the social norm. In a matter of weeks, something that we had previously not heard of has changed the way we live, has changed the way we're doing church. There are people, I have gone from being somebody who was very socially engaging, let's say. I am a hugger. I am somebody who embraces you whether you want me to or not. And I am somebody who brings others in and wins over people to go, come on, let's get together on this. I always thought that was a positive. I've now been labelled a super spreader. I am the sort of person who, if I get something, I will spread it. So keep your distance. But here we are doing church, but I'm able to speak and share with people who maybe I haven't seen for years, as well as people who I'm not allowed to be in contact with this week. And so we've got a great efforts to try and prevent it, the spread of this virus. We are advised to socially distance ourselves, to self-isolate if needed, and possibly to take even more extreme measures. So I brought this. I'm going to put this down for a second. I brought this because try not to be inappropriate. All right, hold on. Let's go then. Because some people have felt it's ripping. It's not a full-on hazard mat suit. Some people have felt that we need to go a little bit further. Ooh. It's broken. That's how cheap and friendly this one was. Okay, well, here we go. I've not done a talk. I've not done a talk from a church wearing a full-on hazard mat suit before. Can you still hear me out there? Can't see anything. But I want to challenge each of us to change the narrative as we try and stay safe. Not social distancing, but perhaps social engagement while we remain physically distant. Because it is love that will get us through this. For me, hello. It's love. It is love that is going to get us through this. And for me, that love comes from knowing Jesus. A love that can so easily become viral as long as we do not spiritually distance ourselves from others. The love of Christ is contagious. It is spread by sharing it with others. The love of Christ does not spread if we isolate ourselves. Do not hear me encouraging you to go against government advice. Hear me saying that in the midst of, well, we have to physically maybe keep our distance at this time, and we have to isolate if necessary. We do not need to spiritually be disconnected from those around us. We need to share this love, perhaps now more than ever before. Perhaps the church, we Christians, have too often portrayed our faith in negative ways, in judgment, quoting Bible verses at those who maybe live differently to ourselves. Demanding people change their ways in order to know God's love has led to those who don't know Jesus protecting themselves against this message, distancing themselves from church, seeing Christians as spiritual weirdos. And then in creeps the fear, the misunderstanding, and the decision to stay as far away as possible, to put up a protection ahead of the virus itself that people believe will keep it out. And while these protections, these masks, may keep out the judgment that has come and the opportunities to find out about a God who loves them, the truth is that just like these masks we find out are actually useless against COVID-19, the particles are so small they just get through anyway. The love of Christ can penetrate past all of this and make this completely useless. Its very essence is able to penetrate through such barriers, to break through them and show people that you do not need to feel judged or live in fear. The love of Christ must be the most contagious thing in the world. Let me get rid of this. I want to read a passage from you that is so often reserved for being shared at weddings, that talks about the love of Christ. In 1 Corinthians 13, it says this: I may be able to speak the languages of human beings and even of angels, but if I have no love, then my speech is no more than a noisy gong or a clanging bell. I may have the gift of inspired preaching, not sure today, and I may have all knowledge and understand all secrets. I may have all the faith needed to move mountains, but if I have no love, I am nothing. I may give away everything I have and even give up my body to be burned, but if I have no love, this does me no good. Because love is patient, love is kind, it's not jealous or conceited or proud, love is not ill-mannered or selfish or irritable, love doesn't keep a record of wrongs, love is not happy with evil, but is happy with the truth, and love never gives up, and its faith, hope, and patience never fail. Love is eternal. There are inspired messages, but they are temporary. There are gifts of speaking in strange tongues, that they will cease. And there is knowledge, but even that will pass. Our gifts of knowledge and inspired message are just part of it. What is perfect comes after. And then what is partial will disappear. What we see now is like a dim image in a mirror. And then we shall see face to face. What I know now is just part of it, but it will be complete as God's knowledge of me. So meanwhile, these three remain: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. And so we hope We have our hope prepared for fulfillment. For those of us here in the wire, hello, you will have heard me banging on that revival is coming, that our young people are going to lead the way on this. Well, now more than ever, I hope and I have faith that that is true. Young people are fearless. They believe themselves to be invincible. More than ever today, young people are empowered to make a change with that belief. And to do so in a way that can change the whole world around them. William Pitt, at the time youngest Prime Minister of this country, said these words to his friend who criticised whether or not he could do something. We are too young to realise that certain things are impossible, which is why we will just do them anyway. But we can't leave this to our young people to do on their own. As they lead the way, we must follow. We must hope for a future that God has planned for us. We must live out our faith. We must love with the love of Christ. So what does that love look like for you right now? Maybe it's to check in on your neighbours. Maybe it's to give out of your abundance. Maybe it's to support those we know where jobs are going to be lost, households become more challenging, food trips become more precious. Whether you are living in Winnie Hill or in Wyre Forest, hi Mum, let us love with the love of Christ. Let us keep our faith in what we cannot yet see. And let us hope for a new world off the back of this challenging time. A revival that is coming, a new discovery of what God has planned for each and every one of us. Do not let fear overrule what we are hoping for. Instead, let faith persevere. Thank you for joining us this morning. I want to pray that you will see something of what you are hoping for this week as God blesses you. Thank you.
Who'd have thought we'd see Barry dressed in a very poorly ripped painting suit this morning? But actually, the thing that really sticks out for me amidst all of that is the 3 simple words from 1 Corinthians 13 that are just so easy to forget. Love never fails. All the love we ever need is in God. All the love we ever need is in Jesus. Our hope is prepared because he is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that means his love will not only not fail today, but his love will not fail yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The question is, can we be this love? Can we keep supporting our families who may be struggling with fear right now? Can we be helping our street who may be self-isolating? Like Tim shared at the beginning about a simple story with yeast brings people together. All the hope we ever need for has been prepared. Are we prepared to be that hope for everyone else as well? So if the worship team want to come up, we're going to sing one more song together before we close in prayer. We're going to sing, "My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. He is the cornerstone of our faith, on whom all hope was prepared and on whom we place all of our hope." I've been struck this week by the word unprecedented, and I keep hearing this is unprecedented in the church. And a friend of mine, another minister, reminded me that while Martin Luther 500 years ago was nailing the Reformations onto a church door, the church was struggling with things like the Black Death. That was in the... And 500 years ago, Martin Luther was talking about the faith of God, which protects and heals, but the wisdom of God, which says, let's be safe and secure and wise in how we act. He is our hope, he is our love, and in him we put our faith. But let's continue to seek his wisdom. But let's declare together that Jesus Christ is the cornerstone of our faith and the cornerstone of our hope.
My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Sing it again. My hope is built. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Christ alone, cornerstone, remain strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. The darkness seems, when darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the veil. Christ alone, cornerstone, remain strong. His Savior's love through the storm. He is Lord, Lord of all. When He shall come, with trumpets sound, oh, may I be found. Dressed in His righteousness alone, for the I stand before the throne. Christ alone, cornerstone, He made strong, Savior's love through the storm. He is Lord, Lord of all. Christ alone, cornerstone, He made strong in the Savior's love through the storm. He is Lord, Lord of all.
I can think of no better phrase to close this morning than He is Lord, Lord of all. No matter what's happening, He is Lord, Lord of all. I want to thank you for joining us. I really look forward to communicating with you more this way, for us to being connected again more and more this way. We can still stay connected. I want to encourage each and every one of you, keep ringing, keep texting, keep emailing, keep FaceTiming, keep listening to the government, but don't just do it, but keep praying. Keep reading your Bible, keep trusting in God and sharing that faith, because He is all the hope we ever need. God, I want to thank you that you are with us. And even as we close this service now, you remain with us and you're with each and every one of us right where we are. May we know your presence and your strength and your hope, not only today, but in the coming days as well. In your name we pray it. Amen.
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 Just a couple of things before you go. Don't forget, tune in 10 minutes before 11 o'clock, and I will do any requests that come our way through the feed. Look out for the changes in the room. See if you can spot those. There'll be one change to the room every week. See if you can spot it. There may be a prize with that as well. Please also don't forget that we want to keep being generous as a church. Yes, church looks different, but we want to keep resourcing Bewdley and the Wyre Forest. We want to keep loving and supporting them. So please help us to do that. We're going to put a shout out to the food bank every week. If you can get your food bank resources to us every Wednesday morning, we will do a food bank delivery then. So you can drop food off in the door. You don't come in the building, just drop the food off there between 9 and 12. We want to support the food bank in supporting others as well. Every bit of your giving at the moment, obviously church looks different. We want to be investing in supporting the Wyre Forest at this time. And if you want to continue to do that and you don't know how to do that, go to our website, look at giving, and it's all there. But we want to make sure you know the church is active. It's me, it's you, it's us. And we want to bring hope to as many people as possible. Have an amazing week. Stay safe. Keep washing your hands. And don't forget to say the Lord's Prayer every time, because why not? There's always time to pray the Lord's Prayer. Have a good week. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to end this. End.